Hey, it's Shop Talk, baby. This is the show where it's okay to be you. We're talking from Yale to jail and from the church house to the pimp house. Nothing's excluded on Shop Talk. So if you don't have a phone, I suggest you borrow one. Call in and voice your opinion live every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Yeah, that's right, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Don't forget to Shop Talk with your girl, because right here, we keeps it real.
Well, good morning. I usually play an oldie but a goodie, but let's just get started.
Let's hop on in.
Hop on in. Come on in the room.
Right down.
And tell us what's going on. Happy birthday, Roogle.
Thank you.
Yes, I should have some happy birthday.
Yes, thank you. 1 year older,
and
3 years wiser.
How many years wiser?
3.
3. There you go.
I know that's right.
It's been a hard year, man. I'm telling you.
It's been a hard year.
2019, Lord. Man.
It can only get better from here.
It's gotten better. It's gotten better in recent. And actually, this was a pretty good week for me.
Was it?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah. Okay. I was nominated and I received the 2020 second annual Till College's Martin Luther King Community Service Award. And the great thing about it was
they're so excited.
Yeah, I know.
They're so excited.
I know.
This
they
is
really
like
me.
They love you, Roogle.
They like me. But the great thing about it was I didn't campaign for it. Like, they called me up and told me I got it. And I was like, what? I was like, is this a thing? Thinking like, who's these guys at school that's like clowning me right now?
What'd you say? Who's in the room? Who's voting on this?
Yeah.
So wait a minute. What do you mean you didn't campaign? You have to campaign for something like that?
Like sometimes, like for example, you might have like, you ever see those awards where they give like 40 under 40 in the business community or something like that? Well, those are people who like, those are applications that are sent in. You know what I mean? They don't just like, we see this person doing something. Like, people fill out applications for stuff like that.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Or like you may be nominated by somebody who you know what I mean? But it's like usually. So should I take my congratulations back? What? No,
not from you.
Oh, for the other people. They still recognize, but it's like one of those like.
I had no idea that people like apply for something. I thought it was like you doing good, somebody sees you, and then here you go.
So it's like
nominations are
always
good.
Networked, in or whatever.
So it's a game.
I'm
saying that's me.
It's one of those things where like, people say, I don't really like watching like movie awards because it's just like the people who it's them congratulating themselves. Well, it's that market or that industry
exactly
congratulating itself by saying, well, who do we know that we can do this with? But I'm not trying to rain on that kind of parade.
Oh man, you don't got to rain. I just poured a bucket of water. Somebody give me a pitcher of flower pot, something, little thingy. Let me pour the water. Let me water the flowers.
But that was the thing. They called me up and told me I received it. Like
that
I didn't even know it was a thing. And the funny part about it is, I was like, man, I must be doing something right because it's the second annual one. So
you're on the ground floor.
Well, yeah. So it's like, hey, it could have flipped through the Rolodex of people to pick from. It's like, So I thought that was.
What year did you get your degree?
Do I gotta say it?
Okay. roughly around how many years ago?
The year ended with the number 8.
Okay. So that's good though. Think about it. But it wasn't like recent.
No, it was like 22 years ago.
So they've been watching you.
I guess, yeah, and that's something out there for everybody. You never know who's watching, so always be acting in your best behavior
all the time. Except when you go home.
Even when you go home, that's the worst.
You ain't lying. I had to open up the can of worms.
The worst. I had to open up the can of worms. You have to your better behavior at the house. You got to take off your shoes and put them places. Pick up your socks. You're like, why I got to do all this? I'm in the house. Like, you in the house, you got to do all this other stuff. More policing in the house.
Isn't that something? More policing in the house. I had a conversation, and I think it might be a male thing, so correct me.
Okay.
Now, you always say space.
Space. Gotta have it.
Now, I think you might be on to something.
Listen.
As far from a male's perspective, because listening to different men and their conversations is how they think, and because you got your husband, they almost feel like they're policing their own home, and that's where you're supposed to be comfortable.
Oh, no,
that's what
police.
That's where you're supposed to be comfortable, but you also want to keep up and make it, because you never know if you can have company and. Well, you don't want to be running around at the last minute picking stuff up.
Yeah, but that's how come, like, and this is a sad thing about men. What we had to do was we had to run into the cave, the basement, the garage, the shed, the somewhere else in the house. Like, we can have no domain in the main area. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like only at specific times can you have any like domain. It's like I'm like,
my mic sound nice. Is this thing on?
I'm like, come on, man. Like,
does that mean that the home is for guests and not for the people that?
I don't know who it's for. I don't know who it's for. I got yelled at. You're sleeping. You fell asleep on the couch. I heard you snoring. I'm like, I'm awake. I hear you snoring. I'm awake.
That is hilarious. And you remember that back in the day? You said, "Are you sleep?" No, I ain't watching TV. Go to bed. Huh?
That's how I feel. I mean, that's what I'm reliving now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Now you pin that. Now you said that you don't want to have to pick up if company comes.
Right. You don't have to run around picking up the socks and stuff because you kick your stuff off. But yeah, it's like. You should be comfortable in your own home, but then if you just go be comfortable and be like, forget this is my house and just throw stuff everywhere, and then somebody come over and visit, the first thing, especially black folks, gonna do is when they leave is call somebody up. Ooh, her house was nasty. You should have seen socks everywhere, this and that. So that's why I'm like, we gotta.
Wait a minute. I ain't gonna leave and say it. I'm like, this place is nasty. I won't be eating here. I'm going to say it at the top. I'm like, ooh.
But most folks ain't going to do that. They ain't going to tell you up front.
I'm like, I ain't coming back, Nick. I can't come back, Nick, because your husband nasty. I don't want nothing in there. Or I'll sit right in the little corner right there.
Right. So that's why you...
She said sit in the little corner right there.
Yeah, sit in the little corner looking around.
Like you do social services.
Yes.
You gonna come in with your own stool and sit down
right. With it like this.
Especially if you go into somebody's house and you see a bunch of their little extra people that ain't on the lease running around the house.
I ain't going in. I'm not going in.
Hold on, she said people who ain't on the lease running around.
She said a lease.
No, I said no
lease. On the lease. On the contract. On the renter's agreement.
I'm not going in.
But see, that's the thing. Hilarious. A lot of times you don't know until you get there. Then you be like, oh, wait a minute.
Now, I will say, I had a friend, bless her heart. I had a friend, and she was cool, man. She was like, she the bomb. Mm-hmm. But we knew she had people that wasn't on the lease. Okay, we gonna go in. It was like middle of the winter, freezing, coat, in the car.
I know that's right.
I was like, all right, I'm coming in. You ready? I'll be ready in about 5 minutes. Come on in. Okay, coat in the car, so I know what's going on. So I'm going to sit in the corner in my little area that's well lit with the spotlight. Well lit area.
But
go ahead.
Though, I wonder, and I feel bad when people have an infestation. I really do. But I also feel like, should you limit your ability to entertain people?
I would.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, if you got an infestation, don't be inviting nobody. Don't let nobody come to you. I'll meet you. I'll meet you out, girl. Because I had an ex-boyfriend. I lived in Georgia. Uh-huh. His brother and sister-in-law, their house was like that. It was infested. Like, he told me that, got a little problem, whatever. I'm like, okay.
Oh, they warned you ahead of time?
A little problem.
Yeah. And she used to love to entertain and have parties, and everybody would go over there, and the girl could cook, but I wasn't eating nothing out of there. Mm-mm.
Well, how you know she could cook? Because she brought something over somewhere. She cooked it at home. She prepared it at home and brought it to the event.
Yeah, she did bring something. Yeah, she did bring something in that. I was like, she can pretty. And they was like, she can cook real good. But then my boyfriend, finally told me took me to the house one day. And when I say infestation, I was like, Jesus, please don't let nothing get on me because I'm going to show out and act the fool. They going to be
Maybe
mad.
that was the extra
Listen.
ingredients, huh?
Listen, they was all on the floor, in the carpet crawling, all up on the wall.
That's not a little
Listen,
problem.
That's a huge problem.
Had a fish tank and you could just see him.
They in the fish tank?
Scuba diving.
In and on, climbing up and down the fish tank. I was like, oh Jesus! I was looking at him like,
Okay, all right. Now let's
Yeah.
clear this up because I can't just let that go because y'all already know how I am. Now you do know that could cause a health risk.
Yeah, for asthmatics.
Yes,
it's very bad.
it definitely can.
And
if you
their
have
2-year-old was sick.
and if you have Medicaid, they'll pay for that. Just to let you guys know. And speaking of that,
Extermination?
yes.
Ooh,
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Is that roaches and bed bugs or just roaches?
I think it's bed bugs, but roaches too. It's the same thing
Okay.
because they harbor. I can't see why they would discriminate. But with the bed bugs, I'm glad you said. Speaking of the bed bugs, Akron has an infestation. We knew Chicago had an infestation prior to a few years back, and then Akron. And with that, let's just say, just because somebody might have 1 or 2 roaches, does not mean that they're nasty.
Yeah.
So I just want to just clear that
Right.
up. However, if they're in the Frigidaire, I'm
In the
moving.
Frigidaire.
I'm out. Matter of fact, leaving all the clothes. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're moving. That's major. Now let's get back on topic.
Okay.
Back on topic.
All right.
So not being comfortable in your home. Live Studio audience had a question. Go ahead. What did you want? You asked Nick. Does that mean what?
That you bought your home, or you're in your home for other people, or did you get the home for yourself and your mate? For comfort, for you and your husband in the house, because this is the house you wanted.
Right.
You bought the furniture that you guys wanted, and but did you buy it to impress other people?
Oh no, I'm buying something for me because I'm the one that got to pay for it. That's why I told. That's why we're now looking, and I'm like, I'm not going to live just anywhere. I'm not going to jump just because you don't want to pay a lot of big mortgage or anything like that. I understand. I don't either, but I'm not going to jump at anything or live in any neighborhood.
Okay, but let's stay to the topic inside the home.
Right.
So inside the home,
that's what I'm saying.
you don't want. Okay, you have to be comfortable. So it's about you and not just the other people just coming. And nothing wrong with it.
Right.
Comfortable.
He has to be comfortable too, but there's
But
a limit. You grown. We
Too bad.
grown.
Look at him.
We
Too
know how
bad.
to keep the house clean. I'm not cleaning up after no grown person. That's my thing.
Okay.
Was that discussed before you got married?
Uh-huh.
And so you saw how he kept house and he saw how you kept house, and there was an agreement. I'm not going to clean up after you, and I can clearly see that you need somebody to clean up after you. And when I do come visit, I clean your house.
Now see, let's pause it right there. Now, here, let me say this, okay? When you see how somebody is living,
Yeah.
and this is from a female's perspective. Now, Live Studio audience brought up something very clear. Now, at the beginning, some women have the tendency to clean up someone's house. Now, tell me this. Let's say you single. Let's rewind it, okay?
Yes.
Let's rewind it.
See, I'm smiling now.
Look at he's smiling. When you used to be able to clean up when you want to.
You're like, hey, how you doing? I'm doing great. You know?
So when you go over to someone's house, women do have the tendency to try to win that guy, and you want to go over there and you clean up prior to. Now, when I go visit, I dated somebody who wasn't, they tried, I'll put it that way, but you could tell he was a guy. He's a guy.
Mm-hmm.
His house wasn't nasty, but it wasn't womanly clean.
It was stuff.
It was
It was kind
an
of
organized mess.
It was. Yeah,
No, it wasn't even an organized
A little
mess.
bit of clutter.
Yeah, it was like, okay, I'm
But
going to get
clutter,
to it.
But clutter, like, it's a stack of mail, or it's like a couple things that probably should be, like, you need to find a system for those things.
You know what it was? It was stuff that a guy, and I'm going to say
A
this,
guy, okay.
probably wouldn't notice. Like a cup in the TV room just sitting there. And then it's the ring is still like on the side table, like the ring. Stuff that women are going to be like, and they clean it up. It wasn't major. It wasn't major.
Yeah.
But I do know that there are some women that try to win the guy, and they'll go there and they'll clean up the house and act like, okay, yeah, I'll be a good asset to you. Negative, I am that person. If this is how you living, this is how you living. And if I choose to visit, I'll visit that way. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't just nasty, but I ain't about to clean up your house for you to expect it, because guess what? Then you decide to marry me, then you're going to expect me to continue to clean up. No, sir. That's not what I do. So I come and visit at the present state. But there are females that will sit there and they'll date somebody. I'm in the present state. I'm a guest. If this is how you entertaining your guests, I'm a guest and I'm being entertained.
Okay.
And that's it. I ain't doing nothing. I ain't picking up a sock. I ain't doing nothing. Like Nick said, I ain't doing nothing. If this is how you living, this is how you living. Now, if I choose to go into this relationship, I know that when I went to go visit, it was a sock and it was a sink full of dishes and it was this. And I agreed to it versus somebody cleaning up everything or having somebody clean up everything. Then you come over there and you look and then it's a surprise.
That's one thing I'll say about my husband, though. He will wash the dishes. Now, I'm the one, I'll leave a cup on the counter, especially if I'm going to rinse it out and drink out of it, you know. I'll come around, my cup either be in the sink or he be done washed. I'm like, why you know, or he'll move stuff. He will make sure he washes his clothes faithfully like 2 or 3 times a week. I'll be like, bruh, really? You know, he will take his socks off, and he do. Now, every now and then he might just leave them out, and that's if he's dead tired, but he takes his stuff off, puts it in his laundry basket. When he washes the clothes, make sure they folded and put up, hung up and everything. Me, I will grab some clean stuff out of a basket. Oh, I ain't put it up yet. Yes, I will. I ain't gonna lie.
See?
But it's clean.
But it's clean.
I know there is something. And that's what I look at. There are guys that are very meticulous.
Women that are messy like that.
And it depends on
and they know
the
where
person.
the stuff is.
Right.
It's like,
listen,
that desk, just leave that desk just like that. Those are my papers and I know exactly where they are.
And that's exactly him. He'd be like, you got some, what you gonna do with this mail? Just, I'm gonna go through it. Let me go through it. And I have a box of stuff that I'll go through, but yeah. So I'm just saying, you know, just for the conversation, I would say, you know, you don't want to clean up after no adult or whatever, but yeah, my husband, he makes sure his stuff is neat and everything. Like I said, I'll wash clothes and I'll leave them in the basket a couple of days.
There are people that get dressed out the basket, which drives me nuts.
And then I like slowly but surely put stuff up.
Okay, so you got from a female. Go ahead.
Because for me, I guess like my laundromat mentality is like, okay, I'm putting stuff on hangers and folding up as soon as I get it out the dryer. And she'll do all that other cleaning stuff, you know, upstairs. But when it comes to that laundry stuff, she is one of those like, well, I brought this stuff upstairs. And I'm like, yeah, but now you got to iron this stuff. Or you got to really iron it now because
it's in the basket.
It's in a basket. You know what I mean? Instead of like being thrown on a hanger. Like, and it would have only took you like, for me doing that for years of being single and just going to the laundromat, hey, this is what I'm doing. Boom, 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 boom. It would eliminate another step that I would have to take. And I think that's one of those things in relationship or in the house that you got to understand. Like, my thing is, I hate to have to do something twice.
Okay.
Hate it. You know, like, and a good example is that laundry thing. Like, I'm like, I don't even want to even deal with those clothes until they dirty again. You know what I'm saying? And that's like, how they gonna get dirty if you don't wear them? Well, they just gonna be in that bag or they gonna be in that basket. Because now I feel like, okay, now I got to do which could have been done one time. And I just hate, like, it's one of those things, like, you ever read one of those things that they say, like, oh, the best way to in your office area is to touch that paper one time and make a decision at that one time what you're going to do with it. Like, are you going to throw it away or foul it? Or, you know, and I think, like, if you take those steps at home, you save yourself so much more stress. You save yourself because you don't have to worry about it. Like I'm
it's complete.
I'm putting my socks in knots, you know, as soon as I get them out the dryer. And I don't got to worry about that. And you know, I said something this week and some people thought it was weird. I can identify my left and right socks.
Yeah,
I can too.
And people are like, what are you talking about? I was like, I can tell my left sock from the right sock. So even if I have socks that are the same kind, I know not to put those two socks together. So if I have mismatched socks, it might be because a left is looking for a right. Not that I don't have another left to match the left, but it's a left and not a right sock. And they thought I was crazy.
They take the form.
I was like, yeah, I could tell it. And they looked at me like I was crazy. And then I got
Yeah.
like those compression like socks, or not like compression like old people compression socks.
I don't know.
But like
22 years
those,
ago.
Yeah, like you're just in your 40s, you're in your mid 40s with your compression socks, with your funeral home socks.
Right.
Keeping that embalming fluid out. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit morbid, but those like athletic socks.
Okay.
And I can tell left from right.
Okay, go ahead.
Now let's talk about that couch again that y'all bought. That couch that he fall asleep on, and she's angry and you sleep on the couch, and then the same couch that she may be sitting on reading the book, and then she's put her feet up on, then pretty soon she dozes off, and he comes through and sees it's a little chilly, and he just throws the Afghan on her and let her sleep. Might give her the side eye, but he'll let her sleep because he sees that she's resting. And it's a couch. But when you fall asleep on the couch,
It's a problem.
The man might stretch out on the couch that he
Stretched out.
He bought it, y'all bought it, but he stretched out on the couch and was watching a movie or reading a book.
Yeah.
The book is on the floor by him, and his hand is still hanging down there like it's attached to the book, and he fell asleep, and she's saying, "What are you doing sleeping on the couch? Why don't you just go to bed?"
Yeah, like that.
See, that's
that
me. I'm
yelling
the one that
at
falls
you.
asleep on the couch, and he'd be like, "Why don't you wake up and go to bed?"
He say it all nice and stuff, huh?
You go
But we don't say it
baby, you
nice.
go-
Hey.
yeah, baby, you go get in the bed. I'm coming, and I'll turn over. Like, really? I'm comfortable. Leave me alone. I'll get up when I get up.
See, I come from the school of like single parenting, and like when you have a group of kids over your house, and they just like, I just like wherever they fall is where the hell lay. I'm not waking up nobody. So like there'll be times like she'll fall asleep, and I'll just be like, oh, okay. Cut off lights and stuff and go to bed. It's like she'll get the hint, you know what I mean? She'll wake
It's
up.
dark. Wake up like, where am I at?
Where am I?
Afghan on the couch or on the chair, that's what it's for, to cover you over.
No, the Afghan is not to cover you over. That is on the chair. Don't go in my living room covering yourself over my Afghan.
If you fell asleep over there, I'm going to...
That Afghan is for decorative purposes only.
Decorative purposes.
Decorative purposes
that was my
only.
grandma.
That's why it looked like that.
It was decorative only. You better not. And she was another one. Fall asleep and stretch out on her couch. You better get your butt on that floor or go get in the bed. Stretch out on that floor.
Well, what happens is, I think that's probably like if you go back, throwback with the plastic on the cover, on the couches.
Yeah.
Never forget that. I couldn't understand. I had an aunt. I couldn't understand why we weren't allowed to sit in there, and it was plastic on the furniture. Didn't nobody want to sit on that anyway, especially in the summer, because then your legs get stuck to the plastic. But we're not allowed to sit in there. What is it for? Is it on display? Like, I couldn't understand that. Now, I'm one, sit where you sit, but know how to sit. Laying on the couch, it depends. But see, have you been to a couch that you be on and like your knees is in your chest because you didn't did it down the spring
Yeah.
Like,
I hear you. I think that the issue again comes back to space. Like, and they hear me out. Because like, okay, there are people who are fortunate enough to have enough space where that you can have that. Oh, this is that special occasion room that I don't even need to cover with nothing because shouldn't nobody even be in here anyway because I got another place for like recreation and relaxation.
Like the TV room.
Yeah, like the TV room and stuff like that. A lot of people don't have that. So that room would have to double for different...
two purposes.
For different events, for different things.
I do remember, which was really interesting to me, that it was my grandmother had passed and we were receiving the people at my home. Mm-hmm. And my one room, I have like cream carpet and all that other stuff, which I didn't trip. It was everybody else that came that was like, oh, you need plastic. They're going to ruin your carpet, da-da-da-da. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what's happening. You know what I mean? If you have a party, you know what's happening. Mm-hmm. So you have to expect those things. Now, I'm one of those people, like even when I have birthday parties, because I always like to light color carpet, we had Sprite. We had clear mystery Kool-Aid, okay? Because if you spill it, nobody sees it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this one little baby was probably about 2 years old, not even 2. That baby kept going to that room. She kept going into that room, and it wasn't a big deal. Listen, I looked at, she was like, I don't know why she keep coming in. That baby went into the room with the cream carpet, laid by the fireplace, and had that bottle, was out cold.
Aw.
I was like, let her go. I was like, this is where she's comfortable at.
Yeah, it's a sleepy room.
It's a sleepy room.
It's a sleepy room.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a sleepy room.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That don't look like a sleepy room.
Oh yeah.
Well, maybe peaceful.
Yeah,
It's bright.
When the couple times we had play practice here and we would be in that room, listen, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna sit real dainty. I don't
Really?
Yeah, because it's like, everything is light colored and you don't want to mess nothing up. I was like, I don't even want to sit wrong and put a dick in the pillow that ain't supposed to be there. So, I'm sitting real nice and dainty, like, okay.
I'm like, you can sit there. It's bright. It's a good reading room. It's a good reading room.
It's one of those rooms where, like, if you got like new blue jeans or something like that, you like, I hope ain't no dye getting.
Right, exactly.
We talked about that. Yeah, we talked about that. We're about to. Yeah, you're right.
That's
about
a real
the
thing.
It is a real thing with the jeans.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pre-wash them, but those are the people that don't pre-wash them. But actually, you can pre-wash them like 3 or 4 times, and the dye will get there. But like those other jeans that we can't name, they have the studs on them. You got to be careful with the wood and your furniture because
because they will scratch.
it will scratch.
Yeah.
You spend $100 on some jeans, then you got to pay for a whole dining room set.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now moving forward. Now, this is the part I was trying to get to.
All right.
Before we went to our next hot topics. Do you think that you should be able to drink in your own home without your spouse saying anything?
Yeah. Like, what do you like? Drink? Like, yeah. I mean, if it's not impeding on that spouse's health, like you ain't being a jackass.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
like, can you drink responsibly, or we gonna get into a fight?
Sometimes you gotta drink even more responsibly in the home. You know what I'm saying? If you get a bad attitude about stuff. Actually, I was watching this thing and they were talking about drinking rules, and I forgot where it was at. But one of the things was you had to have consent from your partner to be able to drink in the house.
Really?
Like, that was a rule that was on the book, and I can't remember where. I got to revisit the article.
Yeah, let's revisit that article. I'm gonna post it on the page because I'm going to find it. What do you think? Should you be? Look at her. Should you be able to have a drink in your own home?
Yeah.
Without your spouse saying something?
See, we go through this now. My husband, he, on his off days, he will grab him a drink, or like if he gets off work and he's wired up and he he's tired, but he can't go to sleep, he'll have a drink to relax himself, and then he'll go to sleep. But on his days off, he get there, get his little pint, you get the drink, and I'm like, boy, you drink every time you off, but I don't bother him. But it's when he start getting crunk with the TV and playing his music and start singing loud. I was
like he was saying.
What you doing?
Well,
So it's
but I don't bother him though. I don't bother him because he's trying to enjoy himself on his day off. But I just literally laugh at him like, you're getting a little bit loud there, especially if I'm trying to work. Bruh, I can hear the music in there, you rapping, you singing.
But them be those sweet releases though. Like, they don't have to often, but when they do, you be like, like I had a thing before I got married, and the thing kind of got strange. I called it Pork Saturday. You know what I mean?
It got strange after you got married.
Like, it was cool. For me, I was like, oh, it's Pork Saturday. So guess what this means? I'm grilling, I'm boiling, I'm braising something this pork. You know what I mean? Like, and it was, so it was like my relaxed day. So I would have the music going I wanted to hear, whatever. I would have, working on getting that grill together, whatever it was. Okay. But that was like my day.
Okay.
And then it kind of, I don't know, kind of went away.
Look, the energy just went out. It just went away. Why did it go away? Because you were considering somebody else?
No, because I was considering somebody else. This is one of those things that's like kind of just, you just kind of go, it just gets taken away through the compromise of shared living.
That's what I'm saying. Considering somebody else.
I don't know if it was consideration as it might have been colonization.
That's what happened.
You know what I mean?
That's probably with the man too, right?
Yeah, I'm like
wait a minute.
Because it'd be like, and you hear like, well, what's that? And especially like especially it's hard to have a Pork Saturday when your spouse doesn't indulge in pork. And I'm like, I just be trying to like trick her into eating bacon. I'm like, man, I'm telling you, you should just try it. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that in my mind, there's only 2 things that it's hard to recover from: crack and bacon. You know what I mean? Like, I think people have been
So
more,
you know in your mind it's bad for her.
yeah, people have been more successful getting off of crack than stopping eating bacon. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You might be right.
I'm just saying.
You might
But
be
you
right.
know what? I have a friend who finally stopped, and she got herself. She doesn't eat pork now. If she's even around it now, she gets a headache. If she eats anything that has pork in it and she didn't know, she gets a headache. So like
Sometimes
once you get off it, it will, like, you can tell.
Withdrawals for real.
Like if you can tell, like, I don't eat pork anymore because a lot of them say they get an instant migraine if they start eating pork.
You have
so, yeah.
It's like, boom, I'm not supposed to have this.
So she
But
might be like that.
But here's the thing. No, she never had it. She just don't eat it. But here's the thing. The thing is, if you had that prior to, and this is what you did, and here comes the compromise.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, we have a home, we're together, but it's always the guy. That's what I'm getting at. That always seems to be the one to compromise, where the female just be like, okay, this is what we gonna do, and you just fall in line.
Well, because like for example, like, okay, I thought I was doing something great by limiting my pork intake to 1 day a week, right? And like she would be like, really, was I? Like, some people would say you shouldn't eat any meat. You should just have a plant-based diet. Which I can see the benefits of that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So sometimes your spouse comes in and I guess it's stuff that's supposed to help you live longer. But is it living longer, being more happy? The quality of those years, you know what I mean? Because, like, don't get me wrong.
Like, am I going to be miserable longer?
Yeah, like, I'll sneak in a pork Saturday, like Underground Railroad pork Saturday. You know what I mean? Just sneak something in or whatever. But I think it's those things where you can see someone can see that, okay, maybe you should change these particular items up. And it's stuff that you like, hey, I don't really want to give that up. But, even if it's in moderation, sometimes it's just, you're breaking a routine, a habit, of something that somebody enjoyed.
Okay. Did you go 21 days without it?
I didn't. What, this time around?
Because 66 days to create a habit, 21 days to break one.
Oh, I mean, in the past I've done it. I thought, like, usually I would do like Daniel fasts and stuff around this time of year, which I
for a purpose,
for religious purposes. Okay. It's for me anyway. Mm-hmm. It'd be like one of those things where people be like, "Oh, I'm not drinking in January." I forgot what they call it, sober January.
I ain't never heard of nothing like that.
Well, basically, it's like I did, like, people did all this partying and drinking, especially towards the end of the year because it's the holidays. So they just take the month of January off from having alcohol.
Okay.
I've heard of it. So, like, some of my other friends, they do that. Like,
I'm not a big drinker, so
Well, it's, I didn't really,
But
it's a thing.
I drink, and I'm not partaking of that at all. Yeah. I'm going to drink when I want to drink.
Well, I guess this is one of those things. People, cleanse here, thing there, and then you got Lent coming up. So
okay, now you said Daniel fast. Real quick for the listeners who don't know what the Daniel or unfamiliar with the Daniel fast. What is that?
Basically, it's a diet that was when Daniel was in captivity. Where I forgot with the Pharaoh or somebody like that had him. I can't remember. But anyway, they wanted him and his people to indulge in this really rich diet, and so he was able to persuade them not only to let him have the foods that he wanted, but he convinced them to have their armies or whatever eat this food. So it got rid of the meats, and it was really a plant-based diet, which some people would call vegan today. Mm-hmm. And the benefits of it was that those troops and everybody were leaner, they were bigger, and all that kind of stuff. So when you look at the biblical events of Daniel and you think about a plant-based diet today, they're really aligned, especially when you debunk the myth of, can you get the protein necessary through plant life that you get through meat? I recently saw a documentary. It was executive produced by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jackie Chan, where they talked about the benefits of a plant-based diet, and they use athletes as the example.
Okay.
And one of the people was a strong man or whatever who had had a vegan diet all his life, but he was a big guy. He was lifting like 1,200 pounds or doing whatever he did with it and all that kind of stuff. He was a record holder, and he only ate plants. And so the thinking behind these athletes is, well, you think if you see a gorilla in the jungle, they're like huge, massive, strong animals. They don't eat meat. They eat fruit and vegetation.
Okay.
So with this, what they also do is they talk about the science of it. And so what happens is that the meat that we eat is really just a conduit for getting protein, but protein is something that actually comes from plant. Well, it's gathered through plant life that the animals eat, and so therefore, if we just ate the plants ourselves, we would get a higher concentration of protein versus eating the cow that's eating the grass that's giving him protein that we're taking from his body.
Okay. All right, there you have it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on really fast. Look, really fast. Let's hurry up here.
Really fast.
Let's talk about the police officer who turned himself in, 23-year-old who turned himself in, that said that he pulled over a vehicle and he was assisting someone who looked like they broke down, and then he was shot at, and then he gave a description of the individual that allegedly shot at him, which happened to be the description was a black man. Mm-hmm. And he turned himself in, and he's looking at, 3 felonies now?
Yeah, he lied.
Yeah, he lied.
Yeah. Well, let's put that out there.
Okay, he lied. Let's put it out there. Okay,
yeah.
he lied. And now he's looking at 3 felonies right now. Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, first of all, how do you feel about, even though we know that's been going on for a long time, how do you feel about that? He got fired. He got fired. But how does that make you feel? 23-year-old police officer that just lied and he turned himself in. And I'm giving you all of that for a reason.
Well, it shows there that there may be a level of remorse. But did the person die? The person didn't die?
No.
He just fired at them?
Yeah, he just said he was shot at, and that's it.
But he returned fire, though.
Right.
But he was not shot at.
Right, at all. It was a lie. It was one big lie. I guess.
Yeah.
And then the police chief was saying that they spent a lot of money and all that other stuff, but he turned himself in. Mm-hmm. So I know the people's choice over there. We gonna talk to you. So hold your thought. What's your thoughts?
I think at one level it shows a level of remorse, but it also reveals like this thing of like this systemic characterizing of black men or black people to be, they had a weapon and therefore I shot at them, and then like the only reason that the lie didn't stick is because we're moving towards more justice in our law enforcement system, and they're like, okay, well, prove this is happening before they could just say it.
Right.
Now it's like this level of proof that needs to happen. But the thing that really eats at the root of the issue for me is that like you frame this innocent person
because they pulled over several people.
Yeah.
That fit that description.
We already, what is it? DWB. Mm-hmm. Driving
while black. It's like you already pulled over for that, but now we have this. And do you have a gun? You shot at a police officer. Boom, and it fit. And the description fit like a lot of people that I know, and people were pulled over behind that. Go ahead, Nick. What's your thoughts?
I'm going to say at least he turned himself in, but because a lot of them will stick with that lie until it's proven, and then sometimes it's not even proven, and then you have a lot of innocent people going to jail because the justice system is sticking with the police officer, even though there's evidence against it. So to me, it's like, I want to say kudos to him for turning himself in, but then where do we draw? Put it this way, where do we draw the line?
Shouldn't have been done at all, but yes. But go ahead.
And the only reason I refrain about giving this guy kudos is because I could easily see somebody saying, "Hey, John Doe, this is what's going on. You're probably better to turn yourself in because we are coming to arrest you. If you don't, you know what I mean." So I can see like there being that silent, what they call it, the silent blue code or whatever it is about, communicating with him to make it to propagate a better outcome.
And see, that's what I was thinking, that somebody actually told him, like, your story's falling apart, you need to turn yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other end, it's almost, so that's why he probably turned himself in. I'm just saying, this is alleged, this is just my thoughts, okay? If no one told him to turn himself in and he felt remorseful and he turned himself in, how many other people are not going to turn themselves in knowing the outcome that he'll, termination, okay, and him being charged with 3 felonies.
Yeah. See, the issue is, though, this area where this happened and the events that has happened prior to that. Like, you had the guy who was a Muslim, Middle Eastern or something like that, and like some people came to his home. A van full of people came to his home
with guns,
with weapons, and he said, I'm shooting first or whatever. And he got time. I think he death penalty. I think he's facing or something like that. And then it was a young man in an adjacent suburb that police chased him down to an apartment building, and then they opened up fire, and I believe he died.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and like there's still questions about how this happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like tensions are building so that there's more responsibility from the police department to preserve life. And then when you have these instances where someone just flat out lies about the events that happened, because if somebody would have died, I think you'd have stuck with his lie. You know what I mean? I think the consequences of what happened in this case caused it to be like, well, you may be able to get away with this by going through the system because there's no blood on your hands, but there's corruption in your heart.
Okay. Now let's speak about the New York police officer. There was a New York police officer who was sentenced for 2.5 years because he would just go and just beat people, and he's caught on, I want to say he texted someone and they turned it in where he said he had beat him like he stole money from him, like he owed him money. Yeah. Did you see that article? It's an article. I didn't see it. New York police officers actually says New York cop is sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. And from that text, that's what it actually says.
Because he
was just beating up people. Just like, okay, I got this badge and I'm just going to beat you up. And he said he beat him like he stole money. So it wasn't necessary. Yeah. So now I'm just looking at like, okay, well, we're showing, I think it's showing the justice of the injustice, if that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. It's like, okay, now we get it. But these are all young people that are doing this.
Well, because you get people who sign up for the wrong reasons.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing, is like I this is a thin line, and I will admit that, but sometimes you get people who choose to go into certain jobs because those jobs have certain comforts to them. It could be pensions, it could be benefits, it could be sustained employment. But when you do these community-based jobs, you really should be from that community. And I'm not saying that you got to be the same color as the people, but I'm saying that you have to have empathy about what's going on in that community. Because sometimes you just get people who say, hey, I do this job, but I drive out of town every day. I drive back and forth every day.
So you don't have no skin in the game. It's just like, it's a job.
And the thing is, sometimes skin in the game could also be compassion for those who you help serve. And sometimes that compassion is lost when you have no connection to that community.
Okay. All right.
You know what I think? Like a lot of times, especially with those in law enforcement, I'm convinced sometimes with certain events that happen that some of these people, especially some of these police officers with this, I'm the law. You have to. Some of them have that complex because I don't care what nobody say. You have been bullied in school, or you were the nerd, and you got this. I'm the law. You gotta. So like they trying to get back because of what they went through. Some of them, yes. Some of them, no. They actually helping the community. But some of them have been bullied in school, especially if they were bullied by, black folks, because them is the ones they seem to target the most. That's just my thought. Some of it is true and some of it, no, it may not be. but a lot of them have been.
So the
they have
victim
been
turned
bullied
into
in
the
school.
bully.
Exactly.
Well, and on the flip side of that, I know one officer personally who has gone beyond what his job description is to do things in the community. He's engaged kids in rugby. Actually, he was a coach in East High School to begin a rugby program there, and that program ended up becoming a state champion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then there's people that really buy into what I can do, and this is the position that I have. This is the influence that I have with the position that's been given to me. He's been one of those people. There's other people where you have like the resource officers and stuff, and every year we honor those that have done great community service within the school district and have had like really mentor relationships with students who have had issues. Like one guy who was honored, he basically said, "Hey," he went to the office and said, "I haven't seen such and such in school for about a week or so. What's going on?" Mm-hmm. And through him being actively engaged positively with students, it helped bring a kid back to school.
Okay.
So I think the thing, and oh, by the way, these people were white men.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I want to put that out there. But that's the thing. I think like it really comes down to what the intent of a person is when they take it. Are they going to honor a community or help destroy it?
And that's one in Farrell like that when he first got on the scene. I was young. He was a hard ass. He really was, and he kind of put you in the mind to remember that movie Colors. Sean Penn, Pac-Man. That's his nickname. If you see him now, because he worked his way up to he's on city council now. But he came on the scene. Everybody started calling him Pac-Man because he acted like he was a hard ass. But he turned out to be, and he wasn't even from Farrell, but he turned out to be one of the best officers, especially, in the community, especially a white officer. And everybody has mad respect for him.
Okay, let's say Farrell, Pennsylvania, since
yes,
everybody listens to us all over.
Yes, Farrell, Pennsylvania, and Officer Rock. I'm going to give him a shout out. Well, the Councilman Rock now, but listen. I got in trouble many a day, and he came to the rescue. And because I was not the type of person that was always in trouble, there was things that anybody else would have took me to jail that I did. And he was like, okay, when I was married the first time, Mrs. Cheeks, I didn't hear that. You're not supposed to tell me that. Because I did. I ain't gonna lie. I tried to run my husband down one day.
Listen, you better not say that, because they going back on stuff that you did in elementary school and charging you with it.
But he broke my window, so I called the police because he broke my car window. But it was just a lot of stuff. But it was just the fact that he ended up being community
influential.
Yeah, influential for everybody and community oriented, and he wasn't even from that community. That everybody has mad respect for him. So you do have those that are in, and the fact that he wasn't even originally from this community, and he came and now he's
he moved into Farrell, and now he's on Farrell City Council. Mm-hmm. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So so you do have those police officers that are, and he really is one of them.
So the point is, every police officer isn't bad.
Yeah, they're not.
And every white police officer is not corrupt. Let's put that out there.
The issue is that it's systemic racism in the justice system.
Yes,
that goes beyond with those Now, sometimes those individuals perpetuate the worst parts of the legal system. You know what I mean? But the issue is that there's legislation out there, there's rules that we have in place that truly destroy communities. I was just like, a big thing has been like the reform, the reform of things in the 90s, really through the Clinton administration, where there's like 3 strikes and you out and all this kind of stuff. And I remember I was talking to somebody and they was like, well, everybody was kind of for this stuff. And I was like, yeah, because you had communities that was in crisis. You know what I mean? Like you had like literally, I don't know I know kids that died before we graduated from high school. Oh. And it wasn't because they got sick, it was because they got shot.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was like a lot of stuff that was going on where, people wanted quick resolve to things. And then we find out now, years later, that may have been a mistake.
Right.
And now we're making reform to those laws now. But in the case of those who we lost through that level of violence and things that was happening, it it was a tough thing at the time, but now we see that those laws really were unjust to the communities that they really focused on doing the most harm in.
Right.
And that's something that even Bloomberg, who's running for president, is now facing with his laws that he put in, the rules that he put in place when he was mayor of New York. Some of those like broken window laws and stuff like that, and search and frisk rules and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't like they were going on Wall Street searching and frisking people. No, they were going to, other places where the people were, underserved, and saying, well, let's shake you down even more, So, and that caused a lot of people to be in situations to be locked up or be now in the justice system. And once you're in there, it's hard to get out, because if you don't get the money for the proper defense, it's hard to get out.
Right. I don't know anymore. Even if you do have the money for the proper defense, some of them, listen, some of these stars now are going to jail, but you still have to realize,
wrong.
Like,
but
you still, like, sorry, I'm gonna put it out there, the color of the skin, because some of them, the majority of them that are going to jail are still black, versus the ones that are white that are going to jail. Now, you do have some that are going to jail and getting punished for things that they've done, but there's still a lot more, African Americans.
Oh yeah, and the whole, there's
and they got money for good defense, but yeah, if you're wrong, you're wrong. Period. Point blank. I don't care what color you are.
And I think the other thing is too is like the crimes. Like if you're taking it, for example, the whole college interest scandal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got Lori Loughlin with she facing all kinds of time. And then you had like what's her name? Huffman, I think. I can't think of her. Felicity Huffman. And then she was like, okay, I'll pay that fine and whatever. And she kind of skated out of it, because she pled guilty. The other one said, no, I ain't guilty. Now the issue is, you didn't mess with Uncle Sam's dollars now, because they did the whole tax evasion thing.
And everything else.
Hey, you can kill who you want to kill, but take one red cent from Sam. You don't play.
You can molest who you want to molest, but take one red cent from Uncle Sam. Exactly.
You don't play.
Mr. Weinstein.
Hey.
Versus Mr. Cosby. And now Mr. Gooding. That one really surprised me. Like,
but that Cuba Gooding Jr. one, I think is more stuff to come out on that, because
there's more ladies that's coming up now.
Oh, it's more coming up.
Yeah, there's more women coming up with it. So it's like.
Now, I just have to say this. There was someone running for political office, and they went back to what he did in high school. I'm not saying like rape or anything like that, but grab somebody's boobs, grab somebody's butt. Now, back in the day, somebody grab your butt in the playground, and then they run, you can't get them back, or you hit them, and then that's it. And then you come back like, oh yeah, when I was in 1986.
If that's the case, a whole bunch of people be in jail then.
But that's what's happening, though. That's what's happening now. So when do you have the Me Too movement, which is legitimate, but let's be realistic here. I just feel like this is just me, and my thoughts are just not the views of the co-host or the staff at Shop Talk with Mel. This is just mine. I just feel like some people are watering it down when it's actually legit. You have people, and I'm at the place where these are my own statistics, where you probably have probably like 8% is legitimately the Me Too versus people are like, oh yeah, well that happened to me. Oh yeah, he did me too, huh? Were you really affected by it? Just like that casting couch. We had that conversation with the casting couch. You had those who worked hard to get to where they were, and they refused to come to your hotel at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and let you smash to get that part. And then, but then you have those who actually said, okay, well, I'm gonna come to your hotel room and let you smash so I can get that part. And then you mad about it?
That's what you specifically went
you
for.
knew what you went for.
Yeah, and that's where I'm still at with the Bill Cosby thing. You knew what you went to this man's house for, a hotel room for, or whatever. You knew what was going on back in those days. You knew back at that time everybody was taking Quaaludes and everything else, the flower power and everything else.
Now I'm saying don't put something. Now, and see, here's my thoughts. This is my understanding. Now, if you go and you put something in somebody's drink and they don't know, that's an issue.
Yeah, yeah.
But when I say, I ain't got my little teacup here. You want this tea and these whatever them treats, them nasty crumpets that you brought that one day. What did you bring?
Or you want the
Man,
red?
hey, I didn't bring the tea. You know,
No,
don't
you
be
brought-
talking about my treats.
Yeah,
Look, I ain't bringing nothing else up in here but opinion.
there you go.
That's all I'm
Some
saying.
old people dessert he brought. And I'm like, what? I'm like, well, that. But you offer some tea and crumpet, and then you be like, or we can get high and do this, and you say, oh, well, I'll take the or. Come on, how you made a conscious decision to take the or? Like I still don't get it. And I know there's gonna be people that disagree with me. Y'all can come on.
There's a bunch of people that disagree with that one. He was wrong. He did it. Okay, how do you know? Were you there?
But when you put something in somebody's drink without their knowledge, that's different. But if I actually choose, it's like, here, Mel, you want this Hennessy or you want this water?
And I said, give me the Hennessy. Because that's going to be
and I act the fool with the Hennessy. That I was an adult. I made a conscious decision versus give me the water. I ain't going to drink no Hennessy though. But still, give me the water. See, I just don't. That's just my thoughts on that particular case. And even though there are more that came out and he did this and he did that and blah, 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 blah. Okay, I don't know their story. I just know the one that looked like Howard Stern's story. The one
Howard
that
Stern.
she looked like Howard Stern, the one that got him in jail.
Oh yeah, the one that
I can't even think of her name right
Janet
now.
Something, ain't it?
And then that one girl, what's her name? The model. She said
Janet.
she lied.
She lied. Come
and then
on
she
now.
said she lied.
Wow.
And it's like, okay, so what happens in that case? What happens?
She was trying to be relevant because
But
she was no longer in the spotlight.
But here's my issue.
The damage is there because you. Well, go ahead.
And here's my issue. You have working in corrections. You have a lot of women who say rape and he did this and they're upset and you got the guy in jail. Now, I don't judge anybody because guess what? We all are just one decision away from being in that situation. Okay. Right. Depending on who you with or whatever. Now, you have people that women said he raped me. And then you find out later, like with her Dickinson.
Yeah.
She lies and say, okay, well, he didn't rape me. That guy can't get that time back. So what happens to the female? Should she go to jail?
Well, the thing is that, like, for example, I didn't know that she confessed to lying about it. So the thing what happens is when you have people that say things that are false, like the officer and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Sometimes people don't hear the correction to that. And now you have like, oh, well, this happened and this is why. And these are some of the people that were involved.
Alleged. Let me say that because I can't remember what media site I read that on.
But to me, they're showing that there can be restitution for wrongdoing by recognizing all the people that were impacted. The problem is why can't our legal system do that for African American plight? Yeah, I mean, it's saying like or
the average Joe.
Like it's so and this is Ta-Nehisi Coates, his article about a case for reparations in the Atlantic. You got to read it. You can even listen to it. The point there that he talks about, he doesn't even talk about slavery. He talks about housing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He talks about a lot of those things that we can account for now and show that there was discriminatory practices and there should be some correction. And it just seems to me that the sad part is that this restorative justice movement is not happening for everybody who's been done wrong in larger systems and not just Hollywood. So it's good that that things are getting cleaned up there, but what about our society as a whole? When are those things going to come? When are those justices going to be enacted? Good question.
No, good question. When? Do you feel as though that we're moving in that direction now?
It's there's some things that are good things that are happening. You know what I mean? As far as like criminal justice reform and stuff like that. There's some things even with like nonviolent drug offenders that's happening. Granted, the reason those things are happening is because the climate of some of the people impacted are not traditionally the people who were subject to those rules prior. So. I mean, sometimes it's however you can get it, and then, work for more reform.
Okay. All right. Now, speaking of the building building that came into my head, the White House. Chrisette Michelle. Let's talk about Chrisette Michelle.
Again.
We got to talk about her because remember when President Trump first got into office, she went to sing, and then she says that once she went to go sing for him, her career plummeted.
Yeah.
Do you think that her career plummeted just because she was singing for him, or her attitude? Do you guys know how she is?
I don't really know how she is, but I would say this is that like you do okay. Remember when Brian McKnight sung at the Republican convention?
Yes.
And they called him somebody else when the guy came.
Right, didn't even know him. Didn't even know his
name. You know what I mean?
I can't remember what they called him, but didn't even know him.
And it was kind of like one of those things where, damn, all you had to do was know his name, and it was a very easy name, a very English
Brian.
name. Brian McKnight.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
That's it.
And no funny letters in it, none of that stuff. Is what it was.
Spelled traditionally.
And it was kind of like, man, they may be pandering towards the African American audience, but there were African American Republicans and who knew who Brian McKnight was. So it did show some inclusion.
Okay. Chrisette Michelle, do you know who she is?
I know who she is, but the thing was that the president was so polarizing with his comments about African Americans, people with disabilities, women, Muslims, Mexicans, that when you got offered that job, that was straight pandering, not pandering for the wrong reasons of pandering. Pandering is bad, but like the ultimate evil of it is that, we're going to use you because we think that you may be a person to be a conduit for others to believe in what we are doing.
But she wasn't. She wasn't that cold.
It wasn't that she was that cold, but she was the only one. She took the job.
I'm like, she wasn't that influential.
How many people didn't take the job?
What number was she on the list?
Yeah, because think about it like this. It was like his first inauguration. I mean, his inauguration was like they had to get some college marching band or something like that to perform because they couldn't get nobody to do it.
Okay,
so it was like,
you
took
a
bad job.
And she's saying that her career plummeted because of that. Her career, she wasn't even on the, this is my thought. She wasn't even on the upslope before.
Well,
she was on what, the Divas? She was on that show, and I seen her personality there. But when I met her in Atlanta,
okay,
her attitude was very different.
Oh, okay. So
on a personal level, her attitude was very, very different.
Positive or negative different?
I didn't think it was positive.
Okay.
And I wasn't a super fan, but even just her encounters, and our encounter was minimal, but it was more of, I wouldn't even want to kick it with her.
You know what's so funny? I had a situation like that. I was in Columbus, right? And I was there for some convention, and it was Jalen Rose was there, and there was another guy who was in Jason's lyric. I won't say who the person was because this is
Alan Payne.
This is straight. If you guess the person's name, you guess it. But it was some straight.
Show me what I won.
Because it was like he came in and like you recognize somebody and he started pulling his hat down and stuff like that. And then one of my coworkers was like, "Hey, is that Jalen Rose over there?" And I was like, "Let's see." Yo, Jalen. He was like, "Hey, what's up?" It was like, and that was it.
Basketball
that
player.
was it. Okay. You know what I mean? But the thing was, he was even in that little moment. He was just so inviting, and all he said was hello.
See what I'm saying?
And here was this other guy who don't
nobody even hardly know.
Who was like, oh my God, I just don't want to be bothered.
And that's exactly right.
And guess what?
He was on the
And guess what? Nobody wanted to bother you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You would have been better off just saying, this.
Take the hat off.
I mean, not even if it was just the fact like I just I just got to be in my thing or whatever. Where it was like people recognized you. But you was so off-putting in your presence that nobody even cared to recognize you anyway.
Right.
When it was this dude who, and don't get me wrong, you know, Jalen's 6'9" or something like that. He's a tall dude, you know, so you see him and you're like, well, they got to be him. And I just yelled that out. Yo, Jalen, like, I didn't say, Mr. Rose, can I, you know, I like the thing. You know, I'm just
Mike
like,
Epps
hey.
is like that. He's cool.
Yeah, he is. My family
He's
met him in
cool.
Hawaii.
He's cool.
And it was really
when he
cool.
was here
Yeah.
a couple years ago, you know, I talked to him. I was like, you know what? You still act the same, because when they did the movie The Fighting Temptations, that's when I first moved to Georgia. And when I moved to Columbus, like the last part where they did the gospel explosion, I was one of the extras in there. So, like, he was cool to talk to then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got an autograph. He had brought his daughter. And, you know, we just started talking about, he was like, you remember that? I said, yeah, I was down there. I was one of the extras in the last part of the movie. So, he is absolutely cool to talk to. Then you have some that just don't want to be bothered. Like Beyonce, she wasn't inviting like everybody else. Cuba was inviting. Melba was inviting.
Beyonce?
She don't want to be bothered. She stayed in her trailer the whole time. They didn't eat with everybody else.
Now, I will say this. I will say this with Beyonce. A lot of people don't like Beyonce, and I think it might because she's shy. Believe it or not, people don't believe I'm shy.
That's some bull.
No,
That's
people
some
don't.
big
Listen,
ass extra spread on the bottom of
listen.
your shoe.
Listen, Rue McClanahan talked to everybody. Everybody talked to
Okay,
everybody.
but listen,
But you ain't gotta be.
but you can't.
A lot of people went to her in the auditorium, you know what, in between takes to try to talk to her, and the way she was just looking at people.
Okay,
like,
so she
was
was
like,
okay. All right, B, I ain't got it. Okay, B, I don't have your back.
Everybody else was cool. Everybody else talked to us.
But that's how
she was like.
But that's how that example is how Chrisette Michelle was.
Mm-hmm.
I like the one song that she sang, but it was just like, don't nobody, like, you need to be trying to find out who I am. Like, what's your name again? You know, that type thing. But I will say, a live studio audience met Alan Payne, actually worked with them closely. Alan Payne, Lorenz Tate, Bill Bellamy, all of them. All of them. So she has a different, you know.
Yeah.
I heard Bill Bellamy had one of them stank attitudes too.
But you know what I'll say? They didn't have stank attitudes with
You
you.
didn't? Okay.
I think it's just knowing the person.
Very accommodating.
Really? Okay.
So with that, you know what I mean?
somebody
You
that
have
I know
the
that met
different
him
environment
said
that you're
the
in.
opposite.
Yeah, but
Now-
I'm just saying, when you on the like when you go on the road trying to get people to buy your tickets to come to your thing, you can at least walk in the building with a smile on your face.
Now I get that. Let me tell you what happened. True story. True story. I'm out. Not that I'm all like that and nothing, but I'm out. And I'm having a good time with my family. And this guy says hello to everybody. Hello, hello, hello. And then he sees me and he was like, what's up? So I wanted to know, how come I couldn't get a hello? What? Until a relative said, hey, ma'am, that's what your thing says.
Yeah.
So when you say, hey, what's up? I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, why I gotta get it with everybody else? Hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Me? What's up? I was feeling like, wait, hi? I was like, hi? Then I realized, oh, okay, because she was like, that's what your thing says. It says, what's up? I was like, okay. Because I'm thinking like, why I look like, like, how come I can't get the hello?
Yeah, why you get a code switch on me?
Right. So that's where I was at, like, yeah, but yeah.
I'll tell you another nice person.
Go ahead, who's a
Craig Robinson is nice.
Who? Who? Do you know who that is, Nick?
He's a black guy who's in some of the Judd Apatow's movies. Like, have you seen 40, not 40-year-old. Yeah, 40, no, was he in that?
See what I'm saying?
I can't remember which one.
See what I'm saying? The movie got on
He had a show called Mr. Robinson. It was on NBC for a short period of time.
That crazy fool. He was in what is it?
He was in
Hot
Tub Time Machine. He was in that.
And he played in that show.
Only Mr. Robinson I know is Eddie Murphy.
Knocked Up was the movie. He was Knocked Up, and he had this scene where he was playing the security. And the two women tried to come into the bar. He was like, listen, y'all got
you watched Daddy's Little Girl?
Yes.
The one that was going, Julia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And he was
hey, what's happening in the movie world?
Well, Tyler Perry, for all the great things he did in 2019, I believe he delivered us a fresh turd to begin 2020.
What?
It's Falling from Grace. My God, that movie.
You don't like
I watched it.
You didn't like
It took me
it?
2 days.
2 days to watch
Took me
that
2
movie?
days to watch it.
So did you feel like it took too long to get to the meat of
The
it?
pacing was really bad. There was some narration in that movie that it doesn't make sense to narrate a movie if you're going to show me the scenes.
Okay.
So why even show me the scenes if those scenes have dialogue and then you're narrating over it? It takes away from just let me discover what's happening in the moment versus the voiceover.
And see, that's where it took too long to get to it.
Yeah, it
to
took
me.
a long time, and then it was like then they mashed in everything that I was like, oh, we're getting to the budget. Let's just smash all this in the last 20 minutes, and it was so funny because there was one scene in there where I will say that was good that really represented the movie, and it's when Grace is having the conversation with the attorney. And she says, do you remember such and such, whatever person's name was? Like, she died in here. And she had you, and she took a plea. When people hear that I have you as an attorney, they know I have the worst of the public defender's office. You know what I mean? Which already got a bad rap of not being able to really serve people, just in general. And the thing about that was they were right. She was a horrible lawyer. Mm-hmm. Like the only thing that was the saving graces was she stumbled upon what was going on, but she was absolutely horrible in her job. Which maybe he intended to write it like that, but she was not a good lawyer. She was horrible. Mm-hmm. And then the thing that he did, the thing that I don't think that was intentional was how bad the boyfriend was as a police officer. He was horrible. He left people handcuffed walking away.
Yeah, so I'll be back. Everywhere, yeah.
You know, I'm like, how you gonna take somebody in police custody and then leave them? And then you just drive to the place and then you decide to call when the lady tell you that she ain't there instead of calling your girlfriend in advance and say, hey, I think there's trouble. He waited to get there, then to call. It didn't make any sense.
Well, I think he probably wrote it that way because when he called, remember her phone rang and he heard it. So that's when he knew that she was there. Because if he would have did it prior to, he would have never known.
Real talk.
He knew he dropped her off. She said she walked.
Okay, but real talk though. Have you if he would have called her in advance the way the movie was going, the phone would have just rung anyway. Because the other person wasn't at home anyway to answer the phone.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
He still would have ended up there.
When have you said this is an emergency situation? I got a phone, I got a police radio, and I'm going to just travel to the place instead of call, or even tell dispatch to send cars there.
He did.
He did that once he got there, and then when he got there, he had a suspect under arrest.
And said, I'll be back.
And he said, I'll be back. Not the dude, but the lady.
Yeah, she was cuffed.
You know, yeah. And
she was cuffed too.
All he had to do was just take her out to the car and wait for Becca to come. He could have put her in the car. It's such a mess.
Okay.
It's such an incoherent mess. And it's like some of it is not even really the acting as it is like the how the flow of the movie goes.
Okay, so you didn't like the writing.
I didn't. It was so much that I didn't like it. And there was one person who I look at other reviews, and this other person coined it like this. He was like, one person said, well, he did give his diehard audience what they like.
His audience.
And it was a broken old black woman. It was what like somebody said, old broken black woman. That you know what I'm saying? Oh, you know what I mean? And that's been the trope. That's his trope. That's his go-to. Like, how can I show like these women are going through these horrible things and being fooled and all this other stuff? And it gets him the butts and seats.
But it wasn't a guy this time.
What you mean it wasn't a guy?
It wasn't a guy that made these women go through all of this. It was a woman who did that.
It would have been a better.
A woman was a mastermind.
You know what? But she
used her son.
Yeah. But the thing was, it would have been a better story had he just
started with the end of the movie and spread it out instead of
just remove the romantic relationship and just focused on the. Are we spoiling this? We are spoiling this right now.
We're spoiling it
because it's on Netflix. You can go and see it.
A lot of people have already seen it. I haven't seen it yet. So,
are you okay with the spoilage?
Yes,
I don't care
because it's been a while.
The issue for me was this: you could have took out the whole thing about the relationship, and you could have just
focused
had
on that.
Felicia Rashad just being some crazy lady kidnapping old people. Way better movie.
Yes.
Way better movie.
And see, this is where I was at. When I was looking at that and when I saw it, I said, oh, that's where it should have been. And then when she got away and then went somewhere else, I was like, now that's when you could do a movie.
Yeah.
Because I felt that way. I felt the dialogue. I felt it was slow to get to the storyline. Yeah. That's just me. I was like, I don't want to hear all of that. Tell me when we get to the meat of everything. The guy coming in and he swept her off her feet. Yeah. It was almost like that how Stella got her groove back type thing. I felt like I saw that before. So it was like, But yes, that would have been a way better movie when that lady was like, I don't live here. I'm going home. I was like, now that.
Like right he should have had to focus. If you would have had
that should have been longer.
If you had to focus on Cicely Tyson being walking around like I just like
yes.
The movie missed an opportunity with
to be
like
great.
That could have been it because I was like, oh, if he would have just put like a little bit more suspense in that piece, he could have had him a suspense thriller, maybe even borderline horror film from that.
Yes,
they could have. I ain't gonna say it would have rivaled the work of Peele, but
it would have been good.
It would have been, it could have been something like this is completely different. This is talking about a topic, because the topic, there's always been elderly abuse. And like that would have been such a poignant topic to explore. And he didn't.
You felt like he didn't miss that opportunity? Because I felt like that should have been longer. It was just like boom, 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 wait, whoa, ho, and it was over.
But if that would have just been there, and it didn't say the lawyer wasn't a lawyer, but she was a social worker trying to follow up, like, where am I? Like, I had these clients or whatever, but they disappearing or whatever. Like, there was opportunity for it to be something that was greater than just this. I picked the wrong guy to be involved with. And then the ridiculous part about it was the costume that they put on the lead male. The guy who was that high top fade wig. I'm like, what is that?
I'm hearing about this wig. I've seen pictures and I'm like, now y'all know y'all could have.
But if you would have you ever seen the guy without he was in Supergirl? He's a handsome guy. Like you could have just, if you wanted him to be older or whatever, you could have slapped a fake beard on him and left him bald.
Well, he didn't want to be older because he was younger. It was more like how Stella got a group back.
Well, then you didn't have to do nothing but just use him the way he was. You didn't have to give him that crazy looking mustache.
Maybe somebody in the wig department.
That wig was horrible.
Who's that?
Absolutely horrible.
Who was over the costumes?
I don't know, but they need to. I don't know. That wig was horrible.
Fired.
That wig was horrible.
All right, so what's a good movie that we need to be watching now? Did you see You on Netflix?
I've been watching You.
Are you interested in You? Because I can't get into it.
You is this is my best description of it. Because I've been binging it from yesterday to today. So it's funny you should bring that up. You is Dexter light.
Okay.
Remember Dexter?
No.
You don't know Dexter either? Holy crap.
Yeah,
all right.
Wrong crowd.
Okay.
But somebody that's in the listening audience might know.
Really quick. Dexter is about a serial killer who works for the police department who identifies people who were guilty, but they couldn't formulate a case. So he goes and he kills those people. Right? So he has he tapes up a room and he kills people.
Okay.
But he has this whole thing, like the purpose, the creed, this and that. And then it talks about how when he was born, like when he was growing up, his parent or whatever was like really kind of corrupted him to make him have this view of the world. And the same thing happens in this show where it's just like, okay, we're going to take that 30, 40 something year old Dexter character and making 20 something.
Okay.
And instead of he'll have that same sort of thing, but it'll be tied to just longing and wanting to be loved and that kind of thing. And nothing will stand in my way from what I want. And so instead of having a room covered with plastic, he has a book vault.
Okay.
That's made of like plastic.
Okay, so it's
walls.
Dexter-like. So if y'all
Yeah,
seen Dexter, then
yeah.
that's it.
But it's okay. It's cool.
I can't get into it. I tried and I like.
We'll see. Like if you're a fan of Dexter, you'll be able to you'll like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, now let's move
I
on
say
to the
go back
politics.
and watch Dexter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul, I don't like scary movies and
It
stuff
ain't
like
really
that.
scary, but it's one season with John Lithgow on there. Amazing.
Okay. All right. Well, y'all heard it.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Politics, real quick. We only got 2 minutes.
Man, well, he is in the House, the Senate actually. The president, the impeachment trial is there. They have these crazy rules that Mitch McConnell set up where the hearings last until 2:00 in the morning. It's a lot of stuff going on, even so much where Chief Justice Roberts is like, yeah, y'all got to do better with this whole proceeding piece. The Democrats are still arguing that there is not enough evidence that is being released from the White House, and the president is reluctant to release these things. More or less, like everyone, they say, read the transcript. It's a perfect call. But really, that transcript that they release it has things removed from it. It is not the complete piece. They're asking for the audio tape of it. They're asking for these certain witnesses to come forth. And they believe that the Republicans who have control of the Senate will not have these people come forth. Now, the interesting thing
Go ahead.
is that it's 53 Republicans and 47 Democrats. There is a surge of 3 Republicans who are like, hey, we want these facts to come out. One of them is Mitt Romney.
Okay.
And Mitt is in a situation where he's not like the other ones because he's rich. You know, I mean, all of them probably rich now, you know, but he came in with the dough.
Okay.
You know what I mean? His father was the governor of Michigan, you know, and then he has these businesses and all this kind of stuff. So he's not really held to the same scrutiny as the other people because, you know, he's in politics, but if it doesn't work out for him, he ain't going to be broke. You know what I mean? So he's taking like this stance of like, hey, I'll vote for these things if we can get more evidence to come out or whatever. And I think that he has a pretty good stronghold where he's at to where if he did go against the president, it wouldn't impact him negatively. You know what I mean? Like, I think he could fight through it.
Okay.
Now, there's 2 others who I forget their names, but they're kind of on board with that. The problem is that 50-50 doesn't get you there.
Right.
You need 51. You know what I'm saying? So you need one more. You know, and even if they were to vote and have him out of there, I think there's something where you need like a super majority or something of that nature. But they're really talking about what happened with Nixon and how there were 4 Republicans that came forth and they said that, hey, this isn't right because they put country before party. And that's where we're at right now in America. Is it country or party? And right now, people have to make some decisions on we can't look at our politics like we look at our football teams. You know, you can't just be like, I'm diehard Steelers. You know, if you.
But that's what's happening.
You know, but that's what's happening. Like these party lines have been drawn, and people are making decisions that are based on things that represent their party more than represents the fabric of why we fight for our American values.
Okay. You did that. You summed it up in 2 minutes.
This is a one thing.
Go.
Do you know the name Dr. Aja Tribble? Who? Dr. Aja Tribble was over Region 2 for FEMA. And Region 2 was Puerto Rico. And in there was an issue about the funds being misappropriated and all that stuff for Puerto Rico. She was loaning out, she was giving
That's
contracts.
how you pronounce it. I know you're talking about. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, you might be right. Yeah, you're right. You might be right.
A-H. That's how I like. I was like, you know. But anyway, it's.
Go ahead.
She took kickbacks in order to give people certain contracts, and those people were like up in the cost and all that kind of stuff. So in this horrible debacle, disaster, there was an even terrible debacle taking place where there were monies that could have really impacted Puerto Rico in a positive way after, and now they just had a earthquake. So they found out that she was doing this and they arrested her. And to me, if she's guilty of it, God have mercy on her soul, because she chose to take money and put people's lives in jeopardy. People died in this. People not only died from the direct impact of the hurricane, but they died because of the aftermath of it. And your job was to ensure that you could get those people services to maintain and sustain life. And you failed to do that. Yeah. And she's not bad looking either. But she's going to jail.
She's going to jail.
Neither was Felicia Rashad.
You're going to jail now.
Look, neither was Felicia Rashad. Still the
Has
most.
anything happened since she pled guilty? I mean, she pled not guilty.
She pled not guilty, but not yet. We don't have anything. So
they
as the
just
story
arrested her.
unfolds,
But
I'm sure
like they got her. They probably wouldn't arrest her had they not got her. But I mean, I don't know. But if she's guilty of it, it's like people don't think about that. When you do things like that, you hurt the most vulnerable people. Mm-hmm. I mean, these are people who couldn't have water.
Who trust you?
Who
trust you?
In that case, you don't have no choice but to trust in the government to do the right thing.
Right.
And she did the wrong thing.
And that's what's happening. It's like, what's that? The House of Cards. Like everywhere. Like everywhere, people are like, boom, they go with the top and just knocking people down. Yeah. Like the Wells Fargo. Remember that CEO? Yeah. The CEO of Wells Fargo.
Even when you have local people to take away from programs.
Yes.
House
of Cards everywhere.
You are taking away from the most vulnerable population who needed that, money for a new roof. But you got a $100,000 job and a mini mansion, but you still want to take away that money and that services from those people.
Now, with the Wells Fargo's bank, the CEO, they fined him $17.5 million or whatever because he was having fake accounts.
Yeah.
So, my question is, if he did fake accounts and he's been found guilty where he's not even allowed to bank no more, that's major.
But the $17 million is nothing.
Nothing for him.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Now, what about the people? Let's say we had some people where they were getting houses. Remember that? It was
the housing bubble. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens then? They just got it.
Well, what happened was the government.
You just got it. Like, that's your house now. How can I can't go back and take it.
No, those people got their houses foreclosed on and everything. They didn't get to keep homes.
Well, I knew some people locally that was in on that. I ain't on that local, that local, but they was in on it, and they got homes, and they were able to keep their homes.
Well, I don't know. Well, that's great, but it was, because that is because it was the issue is that like
I guess that's low money though.
To me, this was the biggest, and this was one of the things I felt that was wrong with that the Obama administration did wrong. But I guess in order to try to fix the problem, they fixed it by giving the banks the money directly. To me, if you want to fix the housing problem and then not cause a homeless problem, work out some sort of subsidy or tax reimbursement piece where a person could, in that situation, could have an influx of dollars to pay off that mortgage. And then the banks get their money because the mortgage has been paid off and that person keeps a home. You know what I mean? But instead, they gave the money to the banks, and then the banks did what? They didn't loan any more money out. Oh, we're going to tighten up our policies. We're going to tighten up our policies from the people who borrow money, but we're not going to tighten up our policies on how we use the money that comes into here that's taxpayer dollars now. And I just thought, like, you help the industry and you just kick the people to the curb.
And that's what's been happening.
Yeah.
And you said you spoke on locally. Yeah, it's like, no. These are the people you need to help. But it's like the House of Cards. In every place, it's like the people at the top are just boom, 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 coming on down.
But I will
say,
who
you gonna take with you?
Yeah, his policy on ARA, America Recovery and Reinvestment Act, that actually helped me out directly, and that helped me help other people get through their education. So there was positive things that happened through that piece, and then there was some things where I was just like, oh, well, that could have. I don't know. Is this one of those things where are we going to, sometimes the economy is more valued than the people and
that are living in it.
But you can fix you can fix the economy through the people and not necessarily. I mean, that's why Bush remember Bush gave everybody $300.
I didn't get it.
You didn't get your $300?
I didn't get my $300. What happened? What happened?
He gave $300 to everybody. It was like it's sort of like a stimulus thing. Like we give everybody $300 and they go out and buy a washing machine.
Well, how come I didn't get it?
I don't know.
And then it was something else going on where you're able to get money. I didn't get it.
I didn't. Yeah, Equifax. I ain't getting my money yet. Equifax, what y'all doing?
Oh yeah, you was talking about that. You signed. Didn't you put in the paperwork and everything?
Yeah, for me and my husband. Where my money at? Where my check at? Where's my check?
She want to know where her check at.
Hey.
Uber. They are now debuting a self-driving car. You in or out?
Out. I need somebody to drive me. We ain't doing that self-driving nothing.
What you think?
The idea. Okay, when they come out with these cars and I can afford to get one, I will have one.
You have somebody else? Nobody driving you? A computer driving you?
Oh my goodness!
Was
do you imagine like the
last
stuff
summer that somebody almost got run over? They were testing one.
Yeah.
Somebody almost got run over.
I think somebody died in Pittsburgh, didn't they?
Because of nobody driving the vehicle.
Yes.
I'm not that lazy.
Well, I think the thing was there was someone in the car, but somehow they didn't pay attention or something or whatever. They weren't paying attention, and somebody walked off a curb and got hit by the car.
Who wasn't paying attention?
The person
that was walked off the curb.
I guess.
Both people. I mean,
look, I'm like the person walked off the curb.
But the blame was put on the person who was in the self-driving car because it wasn't like they just had the car where nobody was there. It was somebody in there, but.
So why is it a self-driving car?
Well, because the person wasn't driving. The car, they were just there to monitor it, and if something happens, react and stop it from happening.
So why the person is still there? So why can't you
have a self-driving car?
No, because they're testing it.
Okay,
okay,
because I'm like, so what if after?
Yeah,
like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not okay with that. Like,
not at all.
Man, well, for a person who commutes, who I commuted a lot. I could only, like, if I had to, like, for example, how much work I could get done if I had to drive to Columbus, but didn't have to drive to Columbus and could just be like, oh.
Become rich and have somebody drive you.
Let me do that.
Have a driver.
But the thing is that there are people who commute who have to do a lot of work who don't necessarily make the money to have a driver. The only thing I'm saying is that for me, it would help me monopolize my time in a whole new way.
Ask a friend or a relative. You busy today? Do you want to take a trip?
You can't tie somebody up all day long.
That's why you
ask.
That's why
you ask. What if I'm there for 2 days? What if I'm there for 2 days? And I got to buy them dinner. Then I got to worry about they using the bathroom, parking the car, and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, come on, man. Anybody got time for that?
So you would rather have a computer just drive you to where you need to be? That's a lot of trust.
Computer fails and like it doesn't. You get into an accident. That's what I'm saying. Accident.
Why you monopolizing your time doing work?
A truck jumps out in front of you and the computer don't stop it in time enough for the. I mean, because it can happen with a person driving.
Yeah, it can happen. It can happen. But I want to live on the bright side of life.
It's more likely to happen with a self-driving.
You're looking on the bright side.
I would like to see my cup as half full than half empty. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Okay, well, what you drinking? Is that really liquid?
What you mean? Is it really liquid?
Is it gonna really be liquid? I mean, you talking about something about a computer driving you? Maybe it's just a computer that just poured in some fake stuff. It's just all
fake stuff.
It's just all computerized, like a video game.
All I'm saying is that if it gets to that point to where they have it available, and it's one of those ones where I can chill and do something else,
all right, George Jetson,
then I'm gonna get it.
Jetson.
I'm like, think about it. Your airplane. I mean, so there's autopilot on your airplane. That's been around for a minute.
But there's somebody behind it, right?
Right, they're there.
There's people getting remote surgeries that are operated by machinery.
However, no, let me say this because I will be one who had a remote surgery. However, she's behind there controlling the controllers.
Yeah, but that's miles away. What if
miles away? She was in there.
What if there's a short?
She's right there to take over.
There's a power outage. You know what I mean?
She's right there to take over.
Exactly. But I mean, I'm just saying,
like, there's taking over the car.
There could be fail-safe systems that are put in place.
Listen, I had the Da Vinci, in case anybody knows, and she was there. She was operating it. Now, my thoughts personally, I'm like, well, why not just go ahead and just do it instead of just working with these little machines? But I went on and did it, and it was like at the beginning of the Da Vinci, and she was there to fix it, and it was a lot less expensive. However, because I was like on the forefront, but I made it, so we're going to do it.
I'm just saying, Star Wars, they had it all the time. Every doctor in Star Wars was a robot.
But that's a movie.
Empire Strike Back. When he got his hand,
He's a believer. He's a believer.
Return. I'm just saying.
And I believe in somebody. I'm a believer too. I believe in somebody actually being there manually driving.
Okay. All right, Nick, what's happening? The horoscopes, tell me.
All right, this is Aquarius season, so we're going to start off with the Aquariuses. Living on the fast track can be exciting and rewarding, but right about now, it's time you slow down your forward momentum. You can wait a few days to return those phone calls or emails. Why look so eager? Let the other people involved show their willingness to put forth some effort. You should be courted and pursued right now, not the other way around. You need to be reminded that you're the prize that is worth working for and winning. Boom!
Okay, Aquarius.
Go ahead, like I said, let them call you.
Okay.
Pisces. Your old habits have grown to become like a worn out, dust-ridden blanket. Why they have to do us like that, y'all? But something gives you comfort even though it might not be the best thing for you. You need to make sure that the blanket you cling to won't end up suffocating you. Today, take a look at the things you do in your life without really thinking and ask whether they're necessary or productive. If they are neither, it's time to get rid of them. Refocus on improving your health. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do.
All right.
Aries, slowing down might not feel comfortable right now, but it's the thing to do. Whether you need to put the brakes on a new business project, cool off a blossoming romantic entanglement, or tell that pushy friend you need some time to yourself. The energy you put out today should be about reducing the level of commitment you have in your life. There is no sense in rushing ahead when you aren't totally sure where you're going. Taurus, it's time to toot your own horn. If no one else is going to sing your praises today, you must step up to the microphone and belt it out. You deserve to feel pride in what you've done. Because no one else could have done it as well. With every success comes a cloud of jealousy or anger from the folks who just couldn't pull it off. A few shining people will give you props, but you shouldn't rely on external approval for your sense of accomplishment. Give yourself a hand. All right, Gemini, there's a battle going on today between the high-spirited side and the quieter side of your personality. This is perfectly normal, and it will end in healthy self-realization. Be sure to give yourself time to work out these combative feelings and don't expect to come to a certain conclusion anytime soon. This is something to mull over, not something to decide. Try to be comfortable with the state of flux you're in. It's stimulating some ideas. Cancer. Someone else's business problems are not your problems, although you might have to deal with the fallout today, whether you like it or not. It's very important for you to separate this person from their problems, or you run the risk of getting distracted by emotional issues. Be careful not to get more involved than you need to be. Leo, major movements are happening in your life today, and just like shifting to tectonic plates, these changes could create an earthquake. But instead of running for cover, you should head right out into the open so you could be the first person to take in the new landscape. New ideas are brewing just under the surface, and you are in a perfect frame of mind to nurture them and stick with them for the long haul. Wait for them all to come together into something real. Virgo.
Hey!
You have a strong intuitive sense when it comes to what's going on with your group of friends, but you can't analyze the unseen. Today, find out what's driving their behavior. Just what are they so riled up about? Don't worry that they'll think you're interfering. They won't. In fact, they'll love having an objective ear as they vent about whatever it is that's getting them all excited. It will be fun for you to finally know what the deal is, but we know you how you are about the vents. I ain't got time. I ain't got time. Now, Libra, Is money on your mind? If not, it should be. Things might be getting beyond your control and you're in danger of getting lazy about keeping track of expenses. A little money here, a little money there, it all piles up faster than you can say bankruptcy. Do yourself a favor and renew your budget as soon as you can. You'll be amazed by the far-reaching effects some very small changes can make. It might also be time to revise your phone plan. There are deals to be had. Okay, then.
Subliminal messaging. I had to do that.
Exactly. I'm all about saving the dollar, so whatever it is. Scorpio, an off-the-cut comment will reveal a strong connection between you and someone else, and you'll know immediately that they have something you need. This could be something romantic, but it could also be professional. When you feel that satisfying emotional click today, you'll know that it's time to stay put and not go any further. What you've been waiting for is finally here, and there's no need to waste any more time looking for something better. For now, this is exactly what you need. Sagittarius. There is simply no such thing as a free lunch in life. As wonderful as it would be if there were. Getting something for nothing just isn't possible, so be wary if someone approaches you with an offer you can't refuse today. Walk away from pressure tactics and don't let the hard sell sway your steadfastness. If you're in the mood for something free, why not take a walk in a quiet, beautiful place? Public places can enable you to have something amazing, some amazing private moments. And Capricorn.
Yeah!
Alrighty then. The line between you and others is widening right now.
Yes.
Because you're entering a phase of introspection.
All right.
This is something to embrace, not to be worried about. Even if your social life hasn't been extremely active lately, you will relish the discrepancy between what is going on in your own life and what is going on in the lives of others around you. This is your chance to step back from the world and bow out of social obligations. Get used to greater freedoms. And those are your horoscopes, people, for January.
You gonna have all the freedom you want.
You know what?
You ain't gonna have no damn job.
Hilarious.
You know, don't worry about those social obligations. You won't be having those anymore. You'll be broke.
That's
like
funny.
I said, this is the year of looking up.
Looking up.
Yeah.
This is Gary with the team from the Ricky Smiley Morning Show. I want to give a shout out to Mel with Shop Talk, honey.
Hey.
Okay. I'm Tamala Mann. And I'm David Mann. And you're listening to Shop Talk with Mel.
Hey, you know what you're listening to. There's the horoscopes. Nick, the People's Choice, gave us the horoscopes. Yours is unemployed. Mine is listen to people.
It said, look, what was that last part about looking up?
The last part about looking up.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute.
No, you said it. You said this is the year of looking up.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
look it up.
I said, yeah. Things are only going up from here this year. I believe that. I believe it. I'm going to stick to it. That's my motto for 2020. Things are looking up because it's starting to look up for me. So
good for
All
you.
right.
I'm excited about that. That's an excellent thing. They have different, what do they have? The New Year's resolution. They said people are breaking them. 70% of people, 73% to be exact is what they said, from another media site. 73% of the population who had a New Year's resolution has already broken them.
Yeah.
The first one was working out. And if you listen to Be Inspired, if you don't, I got you covered on the Q-tips. And the Q-tips is motivation.
All right.
Motivation. Always look for the silver lining. Remember, when you are stressed, when things come in your path and impede your way, don't worry about it. Stress is a great motivational tool. That's the time we actually think clearer, okay? You gain, and unfortunately, this is the truth though, we gain credibility through our outcome, dealing with the people. We already know. You sit there, you're like, I thought you trusted me, girl. They might be praying for you. They might be praying against you. But guess what? Their credibility, they begin to trust you once they see that you have prevailed, okay, and overcame, survived the situation. I'm going to give you some Q-tips, quick tips on how to be motivated, okay? Getting started. Be aware of your urges to quit. And that's the issue. When there's a goal that you want to meet or something that you want to do, you have to understand what it is about you that make you want to stop. Why do you stop? What happens? Is it that you're bored? What is it? Then the next is get started. Make sure you get started. Make it pleasurable. What do you like to do? What do you enjoy doing? Maybe your goal in life, and understand this, your goal does not have to be your purpose. But it's nice when your purpose is your goal. Okay? I'm just going to put that out there. But when there is something and it's not pleasurable, because we already know you have to work hard. But they say work hard, play hard. But make it pleasurable. Make it fun. Write down your progress, whatever you did to get to that goal. Maybe you have like 5 steps. Write down 1, 2, 3. Check. Okay, I got 4 and 5 to do so that you can see the progress. Get around like-minded people. When you're around people that are doing the same thing, that are trying to reach a goal, it doesn't have to be the same thing, that are motivated, that, have that energy. It's like, okay, I need some energy. Let me get around some people and push through. So you want to be around people that are like-minded. Take a break. You have to take a break. Don't, like you. He talking about he going to get in the doggone Uber because he got work to do. Uber is driving itself. Mm-hmm. Take a break. But listen, don't take a long break from you. So no more than 2 days, because what ended up happening, you'd be like, okay, you might sit down and decide to watch Ratchet TV. Be like, okay, well, I'm going to see that. I'll start tomorrow. Next thing you know, a whole year had lapsed, and your vision board is still looking the same as it did in 2019. We don't want that. And always think positive. Look at the positive outcome. If there's a roadblock, if there's something, some people look at, like the people that are superstitious. A black cat walk past. They will go all the way around the block, not to go in the path of where the black cat crossed their path. Well, if you look at it, but if you think positive, you'll say, okay, and if you are superstitious, you say a black cat crossed my path. Maybe I need to become more aware. And then you'll start looking and you'll start looking around like, oh, okay, it doesn't mean just bad luck. Let me see what's going to happen. Did something happen? If somebody cuts you off on the freeway, don't get upset. If somebody comes and gets in front of you on the freeway and it says 65 and they hurry up and hop in front of you and do 25 or 45, don't get upset. Think of it positively. Say, they might be preventing me from being in an accident. I can say that with a surety because that happened. It actually happened. I'm driving, boom, this car, boom, boom, get in front of me and go slow. I was like, okay, let me just slow down. I'll just be late. And then went up the road and I saw a car was off to the side and very well could have been me. Mm-hmm. So that's what I want you lovely to do, okay? Now I'm going to tell you about people, human beings. This is who we are. Listen, you already know. Certain people, they will doubt you. They will pray for your failure. But then they trust you once they see that you have prevailed. Okay? Just like an event. And I used that example before. Say if you have an event and you have some people that'll say, I had somebody to say, and it wasn't my family reunion. Went to a family reunion. This lady, I ain't even going to lie to you. She about like 90. The oldest one in the family. She didn't go to the family reunion because this is what she said. She's like, well, I didn't know how it was going to turn out. Lady, you 90. You need to be at every family reunion. Right. You know what I'm saying? But she said she didn't know how it was going to be. She was like, well, when is the next one? Next year? No, another 5 years. You're going to be 95. Hope you make it. And I hate to sound rude.
Hope you make it.
But my thing is, why would you sit there and say that? But people are like that. So you'll have an event and be like, oh, I don't know how it's going to be. The doubter, the naysayer, who want to be around those people, be like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And then when they found out it was good, then they want to call you and ask you, hey, when is your next one? Why? You didn't come to the last one. You should hurry up and do it. Go ahead.
That's funny because I have a grandmother that's 94. And when I was getting ready to go to, she'll be 94 this year. And when I invited her to come to this thing, and I got honored at, and then she was like, well, told her in advance, she said, yeah. Then when the day of, she was like, well, I just ain't feeling up to, she just didn't want to go, right? And I'm thinking like, hell, I'll be trying to live my best life. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, what, I can do something? Like somebody's willing to do something with me, take me somewhere. But I mean, that's just...
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person at this age where running errands is going out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go out today. What are you doing? Go pay some bills. No. Well, live your best life. Yeah. Cicely Tyson, she was on the Tamara Hall show. And when she was on that show, Tamara Hall asked her, I saw it, I heard it, so I don't have to say alleged.
Yeah.
She flat out asked her, she said, well, when are you going to retire? Cicely Tyson said, for what? To sit down and watch television?
I know that's right.
Like to be on television?
Right.
Like,
but what she said was, it was everything. It was little, but it was everything. She said, every day I get up and I wash my body and I put my makeup on. And she said, and this is how everybody should think. Uh-huh. She said, and I go and I have to go to the store, or I have to go. She said that is exercise.
Yeah.
She said it might be a little bit, but it's still exercise versus sitting down with a remote and watching television and not doing exercise.
Yeah.
So when you retire for what? And I'm with her on that. Retire for what? Because you're tired of doing what? That particular job? You don't have to stop at that job. You could do something different.
But it ain't like she working around the clock either. You
Right.
know what I mean? I mean, she's doing her projects here and there.
But she going to events.
Yeah.
So when you don't want to go to an event, so the moral of the story is just like you said, they didn't want to go. If you don't feel like you're up to going to an event, think of Cicely Tyson, who was 95, who said, it's exercise.
Yeah, and this my grandmother is like.
I am talking about your grandmother.
I'm just saying, like, she's in the like, it's not like she's like, you know, she's in great shape.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, man, I gotta get myself together if I'm gonna live into my 90s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially because I think about her, I'm like, she didn't really change her diet a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like, she eats these things and those things too. I'm like, you know, she's like 90.
And you know what's interesting? You have people that's living long that's eating lard, that ate lard, and then you want to get something, I can't believe it's not butter, and they dying tomorrow. You know, I'm like, yeah, I said it. I ain't getting who want peach cobbler with some, I can't believe it's not butter. Not me.
I would make mine with some.
Not having it.
Straight butter.
And I do sugar. I don't do the sugar substitutes because this is just me. And I said, this is not the reflection of the people that's around me who put the fake artificial sweeteners in. For what? I told you about the one lady I work with. She was eating 100 calorie cookies. Was that little Oreo packs? Mm-hmm. And I told her, Ruby, I just said her name. Mm-hmm. Ruby, just eat 2 Oreos like you ate 3 packs.
Yeah.
There was 100 calories, so you done ate 300 when you could have just ate 2 Oreos and got your fix. Mm-hmm. They were like little chips or something like that.
I know what you're talking about.
But I just feel like if you're going to do it, just do it. And it's all about moderation. I ain't saying for all you people that's on your health kick, and my sister who on her health kick, bless your heart, I ain't mad at you. You doing real good. But listen, sugar, I ain't doing no sugar substitute. Don't give me no sweet potato pie, no diabetic sweet potato pie. Don't bring diabetic cookies to the potluck. Who bring diabetic cookies to the potluck? Wow. Back to that again. I was thinking about you. You ain't thinking about me.
For real.
You have to
eat
know
what I want to eat.
You have to do things in moderation. I'm not telling you. Listen, follow your diet. If your doctor puts you on a diet, just go ahead and just follow your diet. Let me just put that out there. I'm not. I'll just sit there and it's all about moderation. Yeah. And if I'm making something, I'm going to make something the right way. I ain't going to put no crab meat in my potato salad. I had to throw that in there. I'm not going to put
meat in potato salad.
Listen, I wanted some potato salad so bad. People want to get fancy and they just start adding extra stuff. Can we just have call me old school? Can I just have just the regular stuff?
That might have been okay.
That's like my ex-boyfriend's. The potato salad was good, but I thought it was mushrooms in it. And I had
mushrooms and potato salad?
Yeah, I was just telling them I don't eat seafood, so they had all this seafood and other food, and I'm chowed down. So I'm wondering why everybody watching me. I was like, oh, this potato salad, it was bomb. I was like, but I've never had potato salad with mushrooms, and they all looking at me like this. My boyfriend was like, well, ex-boyfriend now. Mm-hmm. I thought you said you didn't eat seafood. I don't. Why? Because those are muscles. That's not mushrooms. Them is mussels in the potato salad.
Mussels in potato salad?
I was so mad at them.
Well, I hope you ain't have.
Well, why didn't you eat seafood? You have an allergy?
No, I just don't like seafood.
Well,
I eat shrimp. And occasionally I want some crab legs. But
well, you eat seafood.
Well, yeah. You eat seafood. All seafood.
Yeah,
right?
you eat seafood.
She's like, sometimes I had a lobster. Sometimes I had this.
I had some shrimp.
I don't like surfing.
Fish. I have surfing, not turf.
I don't like fish. But I will eat a fish sandwich from McDonald's.
Okay, she eats seafood. Next.
with some Sanka. Your old mom. Old mom. I'll have a fish sandwich with some Sanka.
Old coffee, take it all the way back.
Yeah, that was my grandma.
Listen, I had some. You know when you want potato salad, you want potato salad to be not potato salad, sweet potato pie to be the sweet potato pie. I had sweet potato pie, and I was upset because it wasn't the sweet potato pie I wanted. They'd add something extra. Can we stop putting extra stuff in things? Can we stop? Or warn me.
You know what I did this holiday season? I made a cobbler with a hat. It was
What you put in it?
It was sweet potatoes and blueberries.
Cobbler? A blueberry cobbler?
Sweet potato.
My grandma
blueberry
used
cobbler.
to eat. I mean, used to make blueberry.
I had them.
cobbler,
I was
blackberry
using them.
cobbler.
I was
You
using
just
them.
using the blueberries. It's
I mean,
an antioxidant, so
sweet
that's good.
potatoes too. It was good.
I ain't never heard no sweet potato.
I made it up.
A mushy cobbler?
No, it
Yeah, you
wasn't
definitely
mushy.
made it up.
It wasn't mushy.
Go ahead, what you got?
So Marilyn saying hi and said, how about some diabetic cookies?
I want no diabetic cookies. Don't bring no diabetic cookies to no potluck. Let it be at your house and I come to visit and you say, hey, I got these diabetic cookies. But don't bring no diabetic cookies to no potluck.
Like, you could break that cookie in half.
Right. Break it in half, then it's diabetic.
You know what I'm saying?
You ain't half of it.
Now you know when you get up there and they have them diabetic cookies and offer them to you, you probably gonna look like I know you didn't. Remember you said
You know I'm gonna be like that. I'm be like, I don't want none.
and they gonna remind you. Remember you said on live.
No diabetic cookies, people.
You know what I know?
Kind of interesting when you say break it in
Break it in half.
break
They go
it in half.
diabetic
Cut it
cookie.
up like in fours.
Yeah. Just make a smaller cookie portion.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is for diabetic.
There you go.
They tell you to eat smaller portion. Like
There you go. What's the average one? Boom.
You know,
half.
like say instead of making I make a recipe. I'm like, I'm gonna make 2 dozen cookies, right? We'll just make those 2 dozen cookies just smaller. Then you get like 4 dozen, but they smaller cookies.
No, because then people like Ruby gonna eat.
Well, all Ruby need is 1 cookie. Ruby, you
gonna-
be like, hey, these is regular cookies. I made them smaller so you wouldn't have to have a bigger portion.
And Ruby gonna eat
And then,
4.
like, for a
She gonna eat
person
4
who-
small
She's
cookies.
gonna eat 4 small cookies.
Well, Ruby got a problem then. Ruby up here messing it up.
Ruby said you got a problem.
But the thing was, when I made my cobbler, I was looking at like, okay, I have these things that I need to use, or I'm going to waste them. You know, I was like, well, how can I do it? And so I was like, well, you know, like you usually make candy yams and that kind of thing. I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make this
a
particular
sweet potato cobbler.
Yeah.
Did you
wouldn't-
let people know prior to?
And it had-
because do you remember that dressing? That chicken and dressing that was made with tuna instead of chicken.
No.
What?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
That might have been a mistake. They might have had the chicken. They said chicken of the sea. So there's got to be chicken.
Listen.
No, and then they opened it up. Oh, it's tuna. It's too
Listen,
late.
can you just imagine chicken and ask Georgie? You like, yeah, ooh, they got some dressing. I'm ready to do this, woo, woo. And it's tuna?
That's
no.
funny.
Stop it. But that sounds like you. I'm going to use what I got. I'm going to use what I got.
No, because you can make dressing without putting in any.
Listen, ain't nobody making no sweet potato cobbler but you.
Look,
And
okay.
then you mix it with sweet potato
And
and
blueberries. Check it out.
How was it?
I thought it was very good.
You did.
You thought
What?
it was good. Did anybody else think it was good?
What was the
It
review?
was gone. It was gone.
okay.
Unless they
Well,
threw it
that's
out. It was like,
Unless they took a napkin.
Everybody just throw this on out, you know.
They probably said, oh, this.
But how I did it was like I did my blueberries like I was going to make a pie. Controlled the sugar because what I really wanted to happen was the natural sweetness of the blueberry to come out. So I just put just a little bit of sugar in there when I made the blueberries into like the sauce that would go into the filling that you said. So I put that in there first, and then when I did the sweet potatoes, I did pre-cook them, but I did them as if they were going to be like candy yams in a sense. But
So they were sliced up.
They were sliced. So it wasn't like it wasn't like a,
I'm looking at a sweet potato pie.
Yeah,
in my head.
so I layered those on top of there, and then what happened when it cooked through, it was like they kind of like just made more of a caramelization of the sweet potatoes and everything like that. But it had less sugar in it than what was in there.
I need you to give me 2 people.
I won't make it.
No, I ain't gonna try
I'll
it.
make a big one for you.
No, I ain't gonna try
Birthday
it.
September. I'm bringing
I ain't
one.
gonna try it.
I'm bringing one.
You make a big one.
I ain't gonna try
big
it.
one for you. Your name is for you.
Separate.
only.
You dealing with somebody that don't even like their food to touch, so you already know.
It's gonna happen. I'm making it.
Well, you go right ahead, Nick. You can try it. Tell me how
I
it
don't eat
was.
sweet potatoes. No, I don't eat sweet potatoes at all.
You sure?
I'm positive. I don't eat sweet potatoes at all.
It was this orange pie they had at Thanksgiving, and I was just eating it, and they said, "What was that?" And she's like, "I thought it was pumpkin pie."
I don't eat
sweet
potatoes.
potatoes.
I don't eat sweet potato pie. I
don't eat sweet potatoes. Ooh, them candy yams was good.
Have you ever
No,
tasted banana pudding?
Them candy-
Because
When I was little, I don't like banana
You know
pudding.
what? And I didn't like it for a long time because of, I think, the way that it was. And
What? Banana pudding?
when
Oh, the texture?
Yeah, the time that I tasted it. But then I tasted
Did you
one-
taste mine?
Was it baked or
Yeah,
was it?
I did
I
both.
tasted,
Baked.
I did
Irma's.
both.
Served, yeah.
I tasted Irma's over there at Foster's
Okay.
on the east side of Youngstown, and it was on point. So that
I don't like mushy
I
stuff,
ate-
so you might have a point.
Yeah,
to
I ate bananas when I was little, but I don't like bananas now. And even when I ate bananas when I was little, I refuse.
I don't like custards and stuff like that. All right, y'all, we got to end the show. I can't keep y'all.
right.
It's been real. We'll do the after show.
After
Look,
show,
the after
y'all.
show be off the chain, okay? Hey, listen, y'all already know I truly, truly appreciate you. We had to do a microphone check to see what was really going on. Like, what's up with the space? Can people be comfortable in their own home?
Maybe.
I probably got everybody going home and be like, listen here, this is my house. I pay.
maybe.
This is what I need to do. So that's the thing. Can people be comfortable in their own home? Should you come to the drawing board and say, hey, this is what I want? When I met you, this is how it was. And then when we got married and I said I do, then you want to switch the game up and flip the script.
Well, I'm just saying, if I fall asleep on the couch, don't be telling me you gonna mess up the couch. I thought we was on our way up, all the way up. We get 2 couches, another one, another one.
DJ Khaled. All the way up. Crazy as all get out. Hey, listen, that is my time. I thoroughly enjoyed you as I do each and every single Saturday. Find you, embrace you, most importantly, always, always love you. Until next week, people. Shop Talk right here on your Spreaker.com. That's what we do. Look, I'm like trying to make it happen, you know? Mm-hmm. That's silly, though. Different.
Uh-oh.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And you don't mess with those
I ain't heard this in a long time.
Me either. Take it back.
Yeah, sweet potatoes, I just don't eat them.
Here we go. Turn it up. Yeah, I don't guess you're blessed with one of America's best, so I think you all better count your blessings.
That was real hip hop.
Yeah.
Real hip hop.
Compared to this crap today. They have good beats, but no substance, no nothing.